Okay, so we're going to take a window that's not really truly an old window, but we're going to make it look like an old vintagey window. And we're going to also turn it into a work of art. After taking the paint out, I decided to use the color Apothecary by Debbie's Design Diary Paint to paint the outside of the window. And then we'll move on to our next step, which is using putty and the putty knife. This is going to give the window frame the look of chippy, peeling paint. So, and I'm actually using a putty knife for putty instead of painting. This is a first for me. Once the putty has dried, which really doesn't take long at all, I then got my putty knife and I started scraping it because the putty tends to build up and be chunky, and we want it to look kind of realistic and not like putty. Next step is I'm going to use a little bit of white salon to go over the Apothecary and the putty because I want it to look like there's a couple of layers of paint on this window frame, at least a couple of layers of paint, right? And by the way, did you notice that this window is on an easel? Because did I mention we're going to make it look like art? So I ended up putting a little bit of Apothecary on top of the white swan just to kind of blend it all in because I wanted to look chippy with the paint and the colors. But remember, this is just how I do it. You can do it your way. You can use one color and you don't have to blend. Next, we're going to apply the color Hey Sailor on the glass part of the window. And we're just going to make sure that we get some really good coverage. And we're going to go back and forth with the brush and make sure that we get all of the glass. And next, I chose the color Monet's Garden from Debbie's Design Diary. And this is going on the bottom half, well, less than half of the window. Just kind of continued with adding colors to the sky part of the window, or should I say of our art, and just adding whites and some yellows and orange just to make a pretty summer sky. So as far as the sky goes, I just kept adding the colors Orange Crush and Queen Bee and Vintage Linen, and I think I probably at some point added a little bit of Cherry Pick, and at some point this French beret ended up on my head. I don't know how that happened, but it did. Oui, oui. Then you're gonna flick, but try to flick on the bottom. Flick, flick. Get a close range of the flicking. After all of the fun flicking of the paint, I started to do flowers, and the way I started out is actually not the way I finished. I actually went over some of the ones that I did in the beginning, and I just simply took a brush and just kind of blotted, and that's how I got my flowers, or the ones that I ended up keeping. And this is abstract, so it's not defined, but it's pretty, and I like abstract, and it's just, I don't know, I think it came out good in the end. Last but not least, we have to seal it, and we're going to use the DIY clear liquid patina and seal the whole thing. Now you can leave this like this, or you can add the panes back in to make it look like a window, and like you're looking outside your window, and here's this beautiful pasture with wildflowers. The only other thing that I would add to this is some hooks in the back, so you can hang it on your wall, and so you can enjoy it every time you pass by it.